Here.
Councilmember Virasan,
Present.
Councilmember Whitstein,
Here.
Mayor Parham.
Present.
I make a motion to excuse Melissa Whitstein, or
Oh,
she's actually going to
she's
be
here.
attending,
She's
right?
attending remotely.
Okay. Can't see her on my screen, so.
All right, now I'll move on to the acceptance of agenda and urgency items.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind if I just chime in for a minute.
Sure.
First of all, I did want to announce for the council and the public that Councilmember
There we
Westy
go.
is appearing remotely today under the Just Cause section of AB 2449 due to her absence on official business for the city of Weed. She's attending the Cal Cities Conference. And then I just wanted to clarify that when you called this meeting to order, there's both a special and regular meeting that are beginning at this time. And would suggest that at the acceptance of the agenda section, you identify where on the regular meeting agenda you'd like to take up the special meeting item, which is a task order for the Lincoln Heights project. And then we would seek a motion to accept the agenda as amended, identifying where we're going to take that item up for business on the regular agenda.
So we will add the special meeting item in under new business, under council business. And that will go in before item A.
If we would just need a motion to accept as amended with the special meeting item above item A on regular council business.
I make a motion to accept the agendized item.
I'd actually like to make a friendly motion to remove item C under regular business for
Okay.
public safety. The request from Weed High School to close Main Street for the homecoming parade has been withdrawn due to weather. Okay, so we have a amended motion, a second, to accept the agenda with the added special item meeting and removing item C for public safety. All in favor?
Aye.
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 You need-
And before I vote, mine is aye. However, I would like to note that I am currently a single occupant inside of a hotel room at the Cal Cities, and that there is no one over the age of 18 that is present with me, and it will remain that way. If it changes, I will notify the council.
So noted.
And we do need all roll call votes, all votes need to be by roll call this evening due to Councilmember Wetstein's appearance by.
All right, we'll move on with the roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini,
Aye.
Councilmember Virasan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitstein,
Aye.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. Motion carries with unanimous consent. In non-agenda public comment, this is a point in time for anybody, not just here in the audience here in Weed, but anybody that is down at the Cal Cities Conference that would wish to make a comment for anything not on the agenda. Now is the time. We have one in the audience here, so we'll start with the people present before we move on to our remote viewers.
Yes, my name is Barbara Hagdahl, and I live in Weed. I was here last month, and I will be here every month asking what the status of the library building is, if you've received any offers on that property.
So currently to date, we have not received any offers for the building.
Okay. Any movement in relocating the library?
There have been a few inquiries that we've made as the city staff have made, I should correct myself, into looking at available locations, but nothing has been decided at this time. It's not really an urgent item as we have not received any offers for the existing surplus building.
So if you don't receive offers in a reasonable amount of time, would it be the right thing to do to bring to the council to rescind that resolution that you passed in August to consider it surplus?
David, I'm going to defer to your legal advice on that.
Well, I'll have to look into that. It's probably not necessary to do that. If he's not going to dispose of it.
I'm sorry, I did not catch everything you said.
That would be something that we would need to look into.
Okay, it seems like after time, the community would be more relieved, I guess, to have that property no longer considered surplus property, because again, it performs a vital function for this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comment here in the council chambers?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sherry Smith, representing the Smith family. I am here to favorably request the approval of council for the 10-feet variance at 1165 Grant Avenue, and this may be on the agenda at a later time, but wasn't sure if it was appropriate to speak up then or right now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comment here in the council chambers? Okay, do we have any public comment at any of our Zoom locations tonight? All right. Seeing as there's a public comment there, we'll move on to council member announcements, meeting reports, and comments, and we'll begin with council member Verason.
Hi. I just wanted to tell all the people that have came or have called about the fire and had offered their help and support with everything that has gone on. We have such a devastating fire, but I just want to say thank you to the fire department that did an incredible job, and people that had offered their helps and support has been overwhelming. But this is an issue that we, that's going to bring us together and make our community stronger as we work together through this this milestone that we're facing right now. So that's definitely my number one priority, is to clean up and get everything functioning again and go on, life. So I appreciate every single one that had called, text, email, that has been worried about myself and my place of business. Very much appreciated. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right, Councilmember Mazzoni.
I just want to kind of continue following on what Pat said. That I want to thank the fire department, the police department, Public Works, and the city staff for doing an outstanding job, and the allied agencies that helped come in here, because that could have got way worse than it did. And this was right in an area where there were a lot of homes here. So I sincerely mean that. They did an outstanding job. So I couldn't say anything more than that. Just that, I applaud that. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Palfini.
I'll piggyback on the same thing, and I want to make sure that our staff, from fire to police to just the regular staff, are applauded for all your efforts. I'd also really like to applaud all the assistance from the outlying communities that really lent a hand, from CAL FIRE to Mount Shasta, McLeod, Dunsmuir. I don't know if we missed anybody. Wairika, Montague, Fort Jones brought an engine.
Yeah.
So it was a significant response on our behalf, and it's big kudos to the whole Siskiyou County. I also just report briefly that Daryl and I were at a LOLA meeting last night, which is League of Local Agencies, and I'll let him finish that report.
Well, I think everybody said it best already. It's a huge thank you to the entire city staff, as well as CAL FIRE and all the volunteer fire departments that came in from around the county. What was a catastrophe, could have been a tragedy. And so we thank everybody for knocking that fire down and keeping that from spreading. As someone who has lived through both the Bowles and the Mill fire, as well as a business owner whose building was spared because of the efforts, generally appreciate that personally as well as publicly for everything that everyone's done. It's a testament to the staff in the city and all the volunteers countywide. And again, I would call on the 7 people that watch us on YouTube and the people that are here. Even if you don't live in Weed City proper, please volunteer. Whether you're volunteering for your local fire department, it makes a difference because all the local agencies from Gazelle to Grenada, Montague, Yreka, McLeod, everybody that I'm sure Chief will list off in detail during his report, those volunteers are what, saved our community several times in supporting our staff. So please volunteer. We didn't indeed attend the Lola meeting last night in Fort Jones. I want to thank them for hosting. It was well put together. Again, I'm very proud to report that, we as the city of Weed had a lot of positive progress, a lot of projects going on. It's always a source of pride to be able to give a mayor's report at those meetings for all the positive things that are happening in our community, to the rest of the county. I would also like to remind everybody that tomorrow is a groundbreaking ceremony at College of the Siskiyous, and that will be taking place at 2:00. That's for the new student dorms that are coming in. We've seen an increase in attendance at College of the Siskiyous, and we're very much hoping that a partnership amongst our community from our city and our businesses will help bring more, employable persons in the future and give more opportunities to people in our community and surrounding areas. And last but not least, please attend the trunk or treat. Due to the fire, it's been moved from Main Street to the Weed High School. It'll be on October 25th. It's a great place to take your kids to go trick or treating in a safe environment. And there are thousands of people that come from around the area, so it'll be a fun time. So hope everybody can join us for that. And now we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do we have any? Well, I guess I'll go through and read the consent agenda before we.
Did Councilmember Westing have a report?
Apologize. Looking around the room here, and I missed Councilmember Wetstein. Can you have a report for us since you're down at Cal Cities?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I did get to attend the Chamber of Commerce dinner the other night, and it was a lovely event. It was a good speaker, a good group of people. Really enjoyed being there and networking with those individuals who are keeping our commerce running in the city of Weed. Here at Cal Cities, it's been a whirlwind would be the best way to describe it. And I have attended numerous classes and focused on economic development. So hopefully we can bring back some of those ideas to the city of Weed. And with our 501c3, we can make some forward progress on the rehabilitation of downtown Weed.
Thank you. All right, well, I will go through the consent agenda now. The first item A, Fire Department by motion. Council will consider resolution number 29-2025 approving the fee structure for AB 38 inspections. Item B, Administration by motion. Council will consider approving the 2025 holiday closure schedule. Item C, Public Works by motion. Council will consider resolution number 30-2025 approving the contract to Pace Engineering for city engineer and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract. Item D, Public Works by motion. Council will consider resolution number 31-2025 approving on-call engineering pool list and authorizing the city manager to execute the contracts. Item E, Public Works by motion. Council will consider resolution number 32-2025, approving the City of Weed policy for discontinuation of residential water service for non-payment. Item F, Finance by motion. Council will consider resolution number 33-2025, establishing a credit card convenience fee. Item G, Police Department by motion. Council will consider resolution number 34-2025, declaring K9 Drax retired and approving surplus sale. Item H, City Clerk by motion. Council will consider approval of the September 11th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Item I by motion. Council will consider approving the payment warrants dated September 11th, 2025 through September 24th, 2025, including any voided warrants and manual issued items totaling $856,540.23. And finally, item J by motion, council will consider approval and filing of the end-of-month report for September of 2025. Any discussion from the council members present or remote on the consent agenda?
I would like to remove, and maybe David, you can help me. I would like to remove item number E and F, just for explanation to the people that are watching via Zoom, so that they know exactly what is going on with those two measures. Do we have to have it open for discussion, or can we just get a report? Is that sufficient?
Why don't you just pull those and we can have the staff report on those right after the consent agenda is completed.
Okay. Then I'd like to remove item E and F for a report from the staff.
Okay, I'll second that to put items E and F under items removed for consent as regular business. And we will call for a roll call vote. Unless there's any other discussion from the council on other items.
So we had a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended, which is without E and F.
To accept the agenda as amended.
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
Public comment?
do we have any public comment in the council chambers? Any public comment via Zoom?
No. Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini,
Yes.
Councilmember Virasan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitstein,
Yes.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. All right, motion carries. We will, the consent agenda with items E and F move to, be discussed and voted on separately.
So, yeah, and I believe that's the next item is items removed from consent, so we can have.
Move on with item E now, Public Works by motion. Council will consider resolution number 32-2025, approving the City of Weed policy for discontinuation of residential water service for non-payment. And we'll move on now to a staff report to explain that.
Mr. Mayor, permission to speak.
Of course.
Justin Stanball, City Manager. Hello, everyone. It's good to see y'all. The explanation for we had an issue where my first week or two here, the front office was having trouble executing a payment agreement for a constituent who needed extra time. And so upon my investigation, they didn't have a form for it. So all I'm doing is I did update the language of the policy, but I did not change, and I had updated the fees because the fees they had were I just made it blanket fees 75 and 125 respectively. But the whole purpose was to add the form to the policy so it would make it easier for front office staff to put someone on a payment arrangement. The other change I made is that I would be the approving authority.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve it.
Well, do we have any public comment? We'll start with the council chamber. Sorry, I miss that myself from time to time. Seeing as there is none, do we have any public comment over Zoom?
Nope.
Okay, so you're making a motion to
I'll
accept?
make a motion to approve the schedule for
Item E?
Item E, which is, where'd it go?
3225,
30,
2025,
25, what was it, 75, 25?
30.
Oh,
Resolution number
32,
32-2025?
Yeah, I must have put my elbow on my system. Sorry.
I
guys.
second.
Sorry, guys, I feel dumb now. Resolution number 32, 2025, approving the city weed policy for
Microphone on.
discontinuation of residential water service for non-payment.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, Ken motioned and Councilmember Wetstein seconded.
All in favor?
So
Yeah.
now we'll move on to a roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini,
Here, yes.
Councilmember Virasan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitstein,
Aye.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. Motion carries. And item F, finance by motion, council will consider resolution number 33-2025, establishing credit card convenience fee.
Mr. Mayor, permission to speak.
Certainly.
Thank you. So this is in response to staff reports that we were not collecting credit card fees. And especially after our meeting with the auditor and looking at our balances, we need to start covering the cost for services we provide. And one of those is credit cards for, we weren't collecting credit card fees for anything. So in a way, in an effort to try to tighten our shot group or covered costs that we are incurring for providing credit card services, all this resolution is doing is allowing staff, whether it be for business or whether it would be for business licenses or police fines or whatever, it just blanket across the city's operations. I'm requesting council approval that we collect the credit card fees that we incur when customers use their credit cards or debit cards or that service, because we do get charged a pretty substantial amount for each transaction.
What fee are we talking about?
It's, I originally proposed 3.5%, but when David reviewed it, he's like, nope, we can't do that. So it's just whatever fees that we incur for each credit card transaction. It depends on the service that we use to do that. It blanketly allows us to just go charge what we incur, the bills, the charges that the city incurred for each transaction. So if it's 75 cents, we can collect 75 cents. If it's $1.50 for processing the credit card change, it's $1.50. We cannot collect more than what we were charged. But it's just a way to collect. It's just right now we're eating the cost for each credit card transaction, and those add up over time.
Well, I agree with it, but it's kind of fluctuating, 75 cents or maybe $1.
Well,
we don't have. Like
those are just examples. I was told that I couldn't collect a fee legally. It has to be for the amount that we were billed, that we were charged. Nothing more, nothing less.
And I believe that's automatically reported when we do the charge on the card. So-
Yes.
Okay.
Like the bank or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's kind of,
Each credit card
right.
charges a different amount, so that's all this amounts to. Okay.
Jill?
Yeah, if I can just, if you'd like some more clarification, we are only allowed to charge for the actual service charge that we're getting. So some credit card companies might charge 3.5%, some might charge 5%. We are legally authorized to pass on the actual costs that we are incurring, whether that's 3.5% or 5%. The question, as a practical matter, whether we can implement that is a different question. And if it turns out to be easier to just do a blanket charge for everything, then we're going to have to essentially choose the lowest percentage and pass that on, because otherwise we may be requiring someone whose card only required a 3.5% charge to pay 5%, and that would be problematic, and so we don't want to do that.
That's kind of where I was at, okay.
Okay, I make a
All right. Do we have any public comment? Okay, how about public over Zoom? Crickets.
No.
Okay, any
Can I ask one question? Sorry. Do we know, and when we're selecting these services, do we know the percentage of the service fee for what we're selecting?
It's usually in the contracts.
Okay, so, for instance, I know that one of the things that we're headed towards is at least a more integrated system with our website. So will there be selection by you as city manager to make sure that we are passing on only the least amount of service charge to our constituents?
Yes, and that's essentially why David made the correction that he did, is that's what the resolution instructs me to do.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh, you're fine.
Not at all. That's the whole purpose of asking these questions. So good that we all understand this and the public hears it. All right. Any other questions from council?
I do. Can I ask the
course.
finance director her opinion on this or more information on it?
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Anytime you're paying a governmental entity, for instance, if you go to pay your Siskiyou County property taxes online, they will charge you a fee for using a credit card and a lesser fee, I believe, for doing a transfer from your bank account. So DMV charges it. It's very standard. As far as the implementation, Dustin and I will discuss that. I believe it would, well, we can discuss that. Doing probably the lowest blanket rate would probably be the easiest implementation. Us having to calculate different rates for each individual transaction would be pretty cumbersome. So I assume that we would probably implement like the lowest rate.
That's kind of where I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. I'm good with it.
Well, kudos to staff for finding that issue and getting it resolved, because businesses have been charging that since the inception of credit card fees.
So with that, I'll make a motion for the approval of resolution number 33-2025, establishing credit card convenience fees.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll move on to a roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini,
Yes.
Councilmember Virasan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitstein,
Aye.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. All right, motion carries by unanimous consent. We will now move on to presentations and proclamations. Our first item A is an audit presentation from Charles Pillion presenting the fiscal year 2023-24 audit for adoption.
Mr. Mayor, Charlie had to leave. He couldn't stay for the presentation tonight, so I'll go ahead and present the audit if you don't mind.
Of course.
So you should have a copy of the audit in your packet. This is the audit for fiscal year 23-24. We were a single audit this year, which we were not in the prior year due to our mainly the water bypass project was a big federally funded project that we had that put us over so that we were required to do a single audit. I'm pleased to announce that we went from, in fiscal year 21-22, 4 findings on our audit to just 1 finding left on our audit, which is not resolved. And that finding is primarily due to me just lack of time with the implementation and data entry for the software conversion. I just didn't get through the general ledger like I really wanted to. The single audit is actually due to be uploaded to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse the last day of March, following the end of the fiscal year, so it would have been March of 2025. So we were a few months behind on that. Charlie called me and said, Jill, we need to start the audit. And I said, yeah, I'm not really ready, but yeah, we need to do it. So that is the reason that we still have that audit finding. I was expecting it and hoping that we won't have it for 24-25, which that audit will be starting soon because we are a little behind on audits. So we're again playing a little bit of catch up. But pleased with what Charlie had to say, and we had our audit meeting, our ad hoc audit committee meeting prior to this meeting. He was very positive, happy that from our progression in making things better. I'm pleased about that. He did point out under Councilmember Palfini had questioned him on the status of where we are financially. And we know that we're underwater in the general fund. The end number for 23-24 came out negative 300 and something thousand for that fiscal year. What I was not aware of, and this is due primarily to the pension liability that is calculated during the audit, which threw the water fund into a substantial negative position. So we know that we're due for a rate study, and we are, and I'm going to let our city manager elaborate more on that, but we are implementing a new method of calculating our rates that's a little more flexible. It's not going to project 5 years out. We'll be able to do it on a year-by-year basis, but I'm going to leave that to Mr. Stumbaugh to elaborate a little bit more on that. We hope we can get our rates adjusted to where they need to be. But all in all, very pleased with the audit. Thankful to my staff who helped. It's a lot of work on staff. There's a lot of things that they need to pull out of the files for Charlie to review. So Christina and Jamie, thank you for all your help on that. One comment he did make that was a finding on the prior year was the grant files. And he's very pleased that the grant files are much cleaner than what they were in the prior years. Yeah, I think overall, we're definitely making progress in getting our audit cleaned up. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Councilmember Palfini?
I would probably just kind of repeat what you said. It's about as positive as I've seen Charlie in quite some time, as far as our audits are concerned. The one finding that you talked about, it's an internal thing. In other words, it's just how you registered in the numbers and stuff. But that's well within our control. It's something that's out there that we can't manage. I would also say that based on some of my questions, I would say that the council, we know our direction that we need to do. And we're pretty much spot on, I believe. And with Jill's help and Dustin's help, I think we're going to be a little bit more forward and a little bit more positive in the future. So it was probably the best audit meeting I've been to, as far as being positive anyway. So it was a good one.
I agree. Mr. Stumbaugh, anything you'd like to add?
Sure. First off, Mr. Mayor, I want to congratulate Jill and her team. I'm new here, but I've also been in the game long enough to know when we've got a competent team. Just looking through the numbers and the fishing I've done through them in my first 4 weeks here, they have done a lot of cleanup, and I want to make sure that Jill and Jamie and Christina get the recognition they deserve. I'm very proud of them. We've still got a lot of work to do. I'm now fully aware of the fiscal situation. While we've had a great audit, we've got a lot of things we got to do. We got to cut down on waste internally. We've got to make sure we improve our processes internally, and that some of these resolutions and things that I'm presenting you tonight as a part of the effort to start improving our financial position, improving our operational efficiency. And it starts with the little wins. It starts with the little wins. You know, you've already blessed me with a strong staff. And so I've got the pieces I need to make it happen. Now it's just me working with them to improve our operational efficiency and improve our fiscal viability. I'm very blessed to be here. I'm very proud of the staff that you've given me the privilege of overseeing. And I think that you're going to have an even better audit next year as we tighten our shot group even more. Did I miss anything, Jill?
No, I just didn't know if you wanted to talk about what we're going to be doing with 218.
Yeah. So I was approached by a firm called Waterworth, and David has to not comment on this because I found out we share their attorney. But Waterworth Jill has been with me on these meetings. We have had 3 or 4 different meetings with their rep, just going over the tools that they have to offer, their pricing, and all of that stuff. And they're for a 3-year contract. I think I don't have the exact numbers, but it's about $17,000. And what we get in return for that, I split it between the water and the wastewater funds. What we're going to get in return for that is expertise. They're going to show they have a model that they're going to walk us through how to do the rate increases. With their expertise and what they bring to the table, we should be able to talk to them whenever we need to. We'll have a project coming up. They can help us do a rate analysis to incorporate new projects as they come up, as opposed to waiting until the 5-year mark. And so it's more of a dynamic approach to rate analysis. It allows us to do real time as quickly as we can with 218. To do updates to account for changes in the environment so that we can keep our water and wastewater funds healthy. And so I'm really excited. Jill is mainly the person I rely on to sign off on things like that, and she's excited. So I'm looking forward to working with them. We have a kickoff on next week, but we will present more information as it becomes available. Did I cover it well, Jill?
Yeah, I think you did. I think the main point is that it's a little more fluid, as Mr. Stumbaugh stated, that we will be able to adjust the rates on a yearly basis based on if we have unknowns come up, like we have a major sewer renovation that we need to do, we can plug that number in. And based on the data, it compiles all our data and it will spit out, this is what your rate needs to be to cover these expenditures and future needs. It's very dynamic.
And we're excited because they'll also walk us through the entire process, the 218 process, et cetera. That's also included in the price. So it's not just, hey, we're going to do your rates, you're on your own unless you want to bill us more. It's all of that's included in the price. Now, the trade-off is Jill and I will have to do a lot of the heavy lifting on our end, but it seems like a good trade-off if the tool's as good as they say it is.
Well, kudos to you, Jill, and your team for all the continuous improvement. My 3 short years in this DS, I've seen nothing but significant improvements in our financial status and how we report and track our finances, and that shows in your audits. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any discussion or public comment on the presentation? Anything from our Zoom members?
No,
All
Zoom.
right.
I just need a motion to adopt the audit, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt the finance,
This
Report.
was not agendized as an action item.
is not? Okay,
Yeah,
then
just a presentation.
just a presentation.
All right, our next presentation is item B, First 5 Siskiyou Proclamation for Read Across Siskiyou 2025. And we have someone here to
Hi,
present
good
to us.
evening. I'm Jean Trevison with First 5 Siskiyou, and we're bringing before the council our proclamation for our 18th annual Read Across Siskiyou. So that would be wonderful, Mr. Mayor, if you'd please read that. Thank you.
Our Siskiyou County Proclamation for the 18th Annual Read Across Siskiyou 2025 event, sponsored by First 5 Siskiyou Children and Families Commission. Whereas the ultimate goal of the First 5 Siskiyou Children and Families Commission is to all of Siskiyou's children from prenatal through 5 years of age will be healthy, ready to learn, and supported in safe, nurturing families and communities. And whereas children in Siskiyou County from prenatal through 5 years of age have a successful start in life through daily reading with supportive and nurturing families, caregivers, educators, and community leaders. And whereas early literacy is the foundation for academic, social, emotional, and economic success. And whereas First 5 Siskiyou, in partnership with Siskiyou County Library, dedicates 1 day each year to promote early literacy by providing the same titled book to be read by guest readers to children in various preschools, kindergartens, childcare settings, libraries, and online events throughout Siskiyou County on the same day, and provide each child with a copy of that book to take home. Therefore, the City of Weed hereby proclaims November 12th, 2025 as the 18th anniversary of Read Across Siskiyou. And be it that this body enthusiastically endorses daily reading, singing, and playing with children as a critical foundation for healthy development and lifelong success.
Thank you very much. And everybody has a copy of this year's book, which is Hugosaurus.
And thank you for that. This is one that my toddlers don't have, so they'll get to read that a little earlier than November 12th.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for everything you do. All right, our next item is the mayor's proclamation, October 16th, 2025, as the Great Shakeout Earthquake Preparedness Day.
Mr. Mayor, I thank you for agreeing to do this. I have nominated the city staff and I to participate in the great shakeout that is going on across California. I believe it's on 10/16/2025 at 10:16 a.m. All staff has submitted me their reports. I would hope that the community will participate with us. The whole goal of the program is to, of course, increase earthquake awareness because we're in California, but also to make sure that we collaborate with our neighbors and work together and as a part of this awareness. So it's just something that I thought would be good for us to do, so we know what to do in case it happens. And it also is a collaborative effort that I hope I know the College of the Siskiyous is doing it, but it would be awesome if more of the community would participate with us. Thank you.
Proclaiming October 16th, 2025 as Great Shakeout Earthquake Preparedness Day and recognizing the city's participation in the Great Shakeout Drill. Whereas the city of Weed recognizes that earthquakes pose a significant and ongoing risk to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, visitors, businesses, and public facilities in Siskiyou County and throughout Northern California. And whereas preparedness actions taken before an earthquake, such as securing heavy objects, maintaining emergency supplies, and practicing appropriate protective actions, have been shown to reduce injuries, loss of life, and damage to property. And whereas the Great Shakeout is an annual worldwide earthquake drill that promotes the life safety action, quote, drop, cover, and hold on, and encourages whole community preparedness at home, work, school, and in the field. And whereas International Shakeout Day is observed on the third Thursday of October, and this year falls on Thursday, October 16th, 2025, and whereas the City of Weed has registered to participate and will conduct a citywide drill on October 16th, 2025 at 10:16 a.m. Pacific Time, engaging employees in offices, public counters, field operations, and essential services. And whereas the city will also encourage households, neighborhood groups, businesses, faith communities, and nonprofit partners to participate in the drill and to take steps to improve individual and organizational readiness. And whereas the city's participation advances community resilience by identifying hazards, strengthening communications and accountability procedures, and promoting accessible guidance for people with disabilities and others with access and functional needs. Now, therefore, I, Darrell Parham, Mayor of the City of Weed, California, do hereby proclaim Thursday, October 16th, 2025, as the Great Shakeout Earthquake Preparedness Day in the City of Weed. And I call upon all residents, businesses, organizations, and visitors to join the 10:16 a.m. drill, to practice drop, cover, and hold on, to secure hazards in their spaces, and to maintain emergency supplies and plans. I further recognize and commend the city departments and partner agencies for leading by example and for promoting a culture of readiness and resilience. All right, that concludes our presentations and proclamations for the evening. We'll now move on to public hearing. Council will consider the Planning Commission's recommended changes to the Weed Municipal Code 18.24.300 and hold a public hearing to consider introduction and first reading by title only of ordinance number 487, 2025.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is modifications to the Weed Municipal Code, Chapter 18.24.300. This is in regards to temporary storage containers. Because it's a zoning change, it does require 2 public hearings. The Planning Commission held one this is October, so August,
and did recommend the changes for council to review and for adoption. What the modifications are doing is the temporary storage containers for construction storages only would be allowed, excuse me, would be allowed to be reviewed and approved for over the counter instead of going before the planning commission. They would have a time limit on them. They would have to follow all of the same conditions of approval as far as graffiti, but they would be tied to the building permits. They would not be issued until a valid building permit is issued, and final occupancy would not be able to be given to the construction project until the temporary storage container is removed.
All right.
That would just come in with their business permit.
That would come in with their building permit, correct?
Building permit,
Yep,
excuse me.
correct.
All right, well, we'll open the public hearing now. Do we have any proponents to speak other than the staff report? Do we have any opponents to speak for the public hearing? All right, we'll move on to council member questions. So I have a question in regards to, will this change the process for conditional use permits for existing structures that don't require building permit? Or will it just be the same process as before?
This is in regards to storage containers. So if you are wanting to get a storage container permanently placed at a, in the proper zones that
Right.
we allow,
That'll still be
you
CUP.
still have to go before the planning commission. This only changes it to where if it is a construction project for a house, we do have a few, I think Habitat for Humanity and one other contractor has applied for conditional use permits and went before the planning commission and were approved. So if there is a contractor out there that's building a home or a commercial property coming in and building a commercial building, they would be able to just apply over the counter with staff, and the planning director does review and approve those.
Excellent. Great streamlining for the process.
And I have a question, if I could, Mayor.
Of course.
This does allow control by the building inspector as to if there's no movement and there seems to be 6, 8, 9 months in between movement of a project going forward.
That was adopted last month or the month before, as far as the, there's a process for the building permits and a streamlining for the inspection process and a timeline, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members? Councilmember Wetstein, I want to forget you out there in cyberspace.
No questions.
All right, any other further discussion?
Need a motion?
Yeah.
We do.
I'll make a motion to okay or pass 487-2025
I'll
for
second
the
that
first
motion.
reading.
Okay, sounds like
I'll second that
we have a
motion.
second, and we'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes,
Councilmember Palfini,
Aye.
Councilmember Virasan,
Yes,
Councilmember Wetstein,
Aye.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. All right, motion carries. We'll now move on to council business, and our first will be our special meeting item as changed at the beginning of the meeting. This is Public Works by motion. Council will consider resolution number 37-2025, approving PACE Task Order number 2025-02 regarding Lincoln Heights Complete Streets Project Plan, and authorize the city manager to execute.
So council, this task order will allow PACE to attend public meetings. They'll be able to complete planning documentation and also 30% design drawings for a CDBG grant that we're going after to help improve the road condition, road improvements and curb and gutter is what we're looking at. There will be public meetings. We will be handing out notices to the residents in that area to attend the public meetings. This is a pretty broad grant. We did that for a reason because we want community input on what they would like to see over there. We have an idea, but we really trying to get the community input. This will also, of course, we still have that USDA grant out there where we are doing the roads, the curb and gutter on the east side of 97. And also, the city will be forking out money, of course, to do road improvements over there. So that will be still taking place.
Excellent. Well, I commend staff for the public input portion. I think it's great that we're getting the public to be actively engaged with what they're looking for, or at least be a part of the process. So, and for the 7 YouTube followers, if any of you are in the Lincoln Heights area, please tell your friends and neighbors to attend those meetings. All right. Do we have any public comment? None from the council chambers. Anything on Zoom?
Have we set, I would like to ask one question.
Of course.
Have we set a date yet?
No, we have not.
Okay. I didn't hear a date, so I
No.
might have missed that in my little brain wandering.
So once I find out, I'll notify everyone.
Okay,
I believe we have to approve this before we can schedule the meetings.
okay.
Any other questions from council?
I make a motion to approve resolution, we asked for public comment?
We did.
Okay. Approve resolution number 35-2025, approving a transfer of as public necessity and convenience. I think that's the one, or did I miss?
So I'll make a friendly amendment
Thank
to
you.
correct it to resolution number 37, 2025.
Thank you.
I second with the friendly amendment.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we'll now move on to a roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini,
Yes,
Councilmember Virasan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitstein,
Yes.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Our next item is item A, health and safety. By motion, council will reconsider request for transfer of liquor license as public necessity and convenience for off-sale type 21 alcoholic beverages at 175 East Vista Drive, and adopt either resolution number 35, 2025 upholding the decision to deny, or resolution number 36-2025 approving the transfer as public necessity and convenience. And we'll begin, let's begin with a staff report, and then we'll hear from the proponent.
So since the August council meeting, Chief Mayberry has spoken to a California ABC representative who stated that the website had incorrect census data. They said a necessity and convenience decision would be appropriate as the city of Weed was beyond the census tract recommendation. ABC also told Chief Mayberry that they would contact the applicant and work on correcting the website. Also, there are currently 4 ABC license holders within 600 feet of the proposed location, with 2 more with business development in the early spring of 2026. As of yesterday, the location of 175 East Vista is still operating as an e-ticket bus stop for the Fronteras del Norte bus line. And as of this morning, somebody could still purchase bus tickets from that location. So ultimately, approval of the license could create potential issues with the liquor store being an unofficial bus depot as well.
Okay. All right, we'll hear from the proponent.
Hi, good evening, council members and fellow community members. My name is Valerie. I am the sole operator and owner of the Weed Liquor Depot LLC. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my business proposal today, and for allowing me to be here in order to give you my reasonings for why I think this business would be a great asset to our community. Could I touch up on some things that Mr. Klomber that said?
we thought we'd throw you on that one.
Yeah. I don't know where the information came for the bus stop, but as of now, it's not operating at all. Fronteras del Norte does stop at the Pilot gas station. I do know that for a fact because I've taken it before, and they don't stop at the restaurant, nor can they purchase tickets from the restaurant. They have to buy them online. So I just wanted to say that.
And I can comment on that. Chief Mayberry has asked Pilot if they had an agreement to stop there at Pilot, and Pilot has denied that they want the buses to stop at Pilot. So I don't know if there's an agreement or if they just stop.
There's no agreement. I'm pretty sure they just stop, but they do not stop at the location that I'm talking about today, and they do not buy tickets from there either. Just wanted to clarify that on.
No, it's an e-ticket, and I believe the printout that we have here, there's a stop that stops at pickup at 7 a.m. and pickup at 6:30 p.m. as well.
Sounds about right, yes.
Can I ask a question? Does it have an address of where it's stopping and picking up at?
It does not. I believe you actually have to purchase the ticket to see the address. The ticket was for $108, $113, and I didn't go ahead and purchase that.
I'm just wondering if
It didn't show an address though, no.
but it has to show an address when you're buying that ticket, right? To where you, because you wouldn't know where to go.
I would believe so, yes.
Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to touch up on also was there is 4 liquor licenses that he had spoken about in South Weed. 3 of them are type 20, which is beer and wine licenses only. And then the one person that does have a type 21 license in the South Weed Business District is they sell are the small, I had brought in that little Red Bull last time for your guys's example just to see what it was, but they only sell those small bottles of plastic liquor, and I believe they have no more than 10 different brand names of it as well. And then another thing about the other type 20 licenses is that they are mostly the basic name brands. You got the Keystone, Coors Light, Corona, different brands like that that you can typically find almost anywhere. I plan on carrying more of like the local distilleries and then also a lot of the local beers. I currently also have some artisans and different craftspeople from town that I've been working with in order to get their brands and their names and their products on a broader audience, just from the travelers and just the foot traffic that is in South Weed. And so the next thing is, I also wanted to talk about the fact that the city of Weed is they're pretty strict about the empty buildings and things like that. And I just wanted to be able to bring in a business to an empty building and be able to bring tax revenue to the city of Weed. It would create jobs. It's going to create a lot more business revenue for a lot of different companies that I've already spoken with. And I just think that overall it's a great location. It's a good place, not near any schools, not near any children, not near any houses or churches or anything of that sort. It is in the industrial part of South Weed. And the only person that sells liquor in that whole area is the Valero, which again, only carries the small, little tiny plastic bottles. And I've spoken to a lot of community members who do think it is, it would add to their convenience of being able to do their grocery shopping as well in that area, and just in general, it is just a more realistic place to shop for the products that I'm wanting to sell.
I have a couple of questions. What is the ABC saying about?
So the ABC, they told me on this, did you want to?
Both of you, actually, but
Okay,
I want to hear.
so
both
they
sides.
directly told me that pretty much the census track of liquor licenses is higher in Weed, which also counts Shastina, even though it's not in the city limits, it does count Shastina. However, they also told me that every city is saturated and that that's why the city needs to pretty much vote on it.
Had they told you anything about, they didn't recommend that you do that, or
Not
you
at all.
shouldn't do that?
Not at all. they would have never given me the, like even the permit or like the transfer paperwork and all that if they wouldn't have recommended it or if they couldn't allow it there.
And then part of this business, what else do you have in that store?
I have basic like foods, like food goods. I have like chips and snacks, and I have beanies in there that are made by someone from Mount Shasta. I have soaps and shampoos and salts and things that are just locally made. I have different art pieces that are in there. It's just like a souvenir slash just general gifts and things like that. No hot food, just snacks and
And
things
are
like
you
that.
gonna put that in at some point if that goes through, or is it gonna stay the same? Will you ever do any more than that in that building? Will you do hot food in it at any point, or
So
do you have any other plans?
I guess I
for-
should clarify this. In 175, it's supposed to be partial restaurant and partial liquor store. It's not going to be a full entire liquor store. The restaurant part of it is still going to be serving as a restaurant.
Okay.
Yes, so I wouldn't be taking away a business from the community. It would just be adding a second one in there, which would create a lot of tax revenue and different things like that. And jobs and
Or complainers, any?
And just, I think the ABC, the city of Weed has allotted, I think, 7 off-sale licenses. I think the website showed that there was only 6 issued, which currently we have 12. And in the past, a waiver was needed for past applicants and business developments. And that's what Chief Mayberry reached out to ABC because it was showing that there was less licenses than we currently had in the city.
So did you get the waiver?
the waiver, I believe, comes from
Us.
you all. Yes.
So that's what this is, just to get the waiver for that.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
even though we're over what the number says, that's what I want to make sure.
I believe, like I said, we were allotted 7, and I think we currently have 12, and a waiver has been needed in the past for other
Yeah.
businesses.
So tonight, you're either, you'll either adopt the Resolution 35 upholding the denial for the transfer of the type 21, or Resolution 36, which would be approving the transfer for the type 21 based on public convenience and necessity.
Mayor, may I have some questions? A couple questions, actually. So I'm a little bit confused. That's just me.
I can help to clarify it as much as I can.
Okay, so we're talking about one building at 175.
Yes, sir, that's
Okay,
correct.
as I go by that building currently, there is a souvenir shop in the front.
Yes,
There is a restaurant attached to that behind it.
correct.
So what part of 175 will you be proposing to be in?
So the souvenir shop, I don't know if you've ever actually been inside the building.
No.
The souvenir shop takes about maybe 1/5 of that larger size building to the right,
Okay.
if we're looking towards the Way of Pilot. The souvenir shop takes about 1/5 of that larger building. The other 4/5 you should just be like a party room, or like it used to just be like a larger area for the
meeting room.
restaurant to be able to, yes, a meeting room, et cetera. So that's what it is. It's just like a large open concept style building in there. So it would be right there in the middle.
Is there an exterior door going in that's separate?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There's 2, and it is like one for the emergency exit, and there's a front entrance door as well.
And currently, there's no restaurant in the other part of the building.
That is correct.
That's correct.
I believe they're working on their business license. However, I am not completely sure. But however, that part will not be used. It will become a restaurant. It will not, the liquor store will not be extending into that portion of the building.
And that brings me to my bigger problem is for me, is the bus stop has been a continued thorn in the side of this council and of the city. From one location to the new location to God knows whose location. So for me, somebody needs to buy a ticket, and I need to see, or at least for me, myself, I would like to see where that destination is that you buy a ticket to.
Yes.
Is it if it says 175, I will tell you, my answer is absolutely not, because I don't need to see a drunk
Getting on the bus.
get on a
So,
bus. They have enough problems. They used to have one of those in Reading, actually. And it was a mess, if anybody remembers.
so I do
I
have
go back too
one,
far, I'm too old.
I do have one question for you, Councilor, just to make sure that we're on the same page. Are you talking about the Greyhound or which bus are you? Because I don't
Any and
recall
all,
the
any
other
and
bus
all.
ever changing location, so
I
I
don't
wasn't sure.
see Greyhound there much anymore.
Greyhound stops in Mount Shasta. They have completely cut off contact with stopping in Weed, so they don't stop at all in Weed. They only
So
stop
our
at the Black
problem
Bear.
becomes Frontier.
Yeah,
Is that the one? Okay.
Yes, the Frontera is still Norte bus line.
How often does it
I
stop?
need verification that, for me anyway.
6 a.m. in the
And
morning
I'm
and
only one
then
of four.
7:30 p.m. at night,
Daily.
daily.
That's that's why I'm asking you. That's why I wanted to know, what does that ticket say? And that is a big thing for me.
Yes.
I support the business.
Do you mind if I possibly looked up their website and tried to see if they have an address? If I were to buy a ticket, just,
I'm okay with that, yeah,
Yeah.
but that means you can't get action tonight. I would venture to table it.
Till we
Because
get more-
for me, I'd wanna physically see it.
yeah.
I do too. That makes a difference for me.
Okay,
And I don't know about and I don't want you to go through that trouble if we have 3 other council members here that may say no anyway. So, and we can't take a vote on this, but I think those are my 2 issues, and I don't want you to go off and buy tickets just based upon my issue.
yes.
Okay,
I understand. I will say for a fact that I have seen them many times, and even when I had taken the bus, I took it about 2 months ago. They dropped us off directly in the Pilot parking lot. It was not any, like it wasn't at the 175 East Vista Drive, and so that's all I can speak on it from personal experience. It was not associated with the 175 East Vista Drive location.
So I have a question for a point of clarification with staff. So we have 4 existing licenses in South Weed, one of which is type 21. The 2 that are currently under construction that have been approved previously that make up the 6 licenses, are those going to be type 21 as well? Do we know?
No, those were approved as type 20,
Okay, which is beer and wine.
beer and wine.
I'm sorry. I understand that there's concern with the bus stop, and I'll comment on that separately. I don't know if anyone else, and maybe this is because of my profession and what I do, is see DUI drivers all the time. I feel incredibly uncomfortable putting a hard liquor location right next to an overnight bus stop of Pilot. Given what we've been seeing on the news as far as accidents involving semi-drivers, I think we're walking into a recipe for disaster. And I know that it's not the business owner's fault that there might be some irresponsible drivers, but I also believe as a city council member that I should negate any possibility that that occurs. And if Valero is selling a small size liquor bottle and that's the most that they can get their hands on if they're parked overnight at Pilot, I would feel much more comfortable as a member of this community knowing that they don't have access to that. I think secondarily, I think it's well known that I live in South Weed. I have seen the Valero, I have seen the buses, and where they are parking, and it appears that they get chased from one location to another. Their recent location was just behind 175 East Vista Drive. On the backside, there's the longer parking lot that runs behind Valero and 175 East Vista. They have also turned to parking at the curb line next to 175 East Vista, and they are parking on the opposite curb line furthest away from Pilot. So those are my personal observations of being a citizen in the community and watching the bus activity that's occurring there. So for me, even if I saw a ticket that had a different address on it, I know the reality of where they're going. And I get citizen complaints all the time. I get business complaints from South Weed because obviously they know I'm down there a lot. And so for those that are hanging their hat on the fact that this might create a disaster as a bus depot, I can assure you those buses are right there. And whether they have to cross the street from being in the pilot parking lot or whether it says 175 East Vista, I don't think it changes the analysis to me. It's nothing against the business owner or the type of business they want to run. For me, there is a sincere location issue.
For me, I think I'd like to speak on that and say that I feel as though if people wanted to be like drunk drivers, which obviously I hope that no one would like to do that, I do think that they could still buy 10 of the sizes at Valero and be just as much there as they would be regardless. I don't think that a professional driver should be risking their whole entire job and obviously their well-being and their fellow other people's well-being on that. I don't think that would possibly be an issue. However, in my opinion, I think that it would already be happening because there is already liquor in South Weed if that was the case.
Mr. Mayor, may I have a moment, please?
Of course.
I actually just went to the website for the bus terminal and for Fronteras del Norte, is that the right one? And I just did a simple Albany, Oregon, because that was convenient, to Weed, California. And then if you actually go to the map to ask it map it out for you, and I'll screenshot it and send it to y'all, but it does say 175 on their website. So I think I just wanted to let you know that that's what I'm seeing on my end, and I'll screenshot it and send it to you.
Okay, I tried to look up a ticket from Weed to Bakersfield for tomorrow, and it didn't even give me it didn't give me even availability. So maybe it's because it was booked or something. So.
Well, I did it for October 13th.
Okay.
Just a random. It was Ashland, Oregon at 5:45 p.m. Then it arrives at Yreka at 6, and then at 6:30 Weed, California. And if you look on the map, it doesn't say it directly on the initial listing, but if you look at the map, it does say 175 Vista Drive.
So it's not directly on the bus ticket listing, is that correct?
I cannot clarify that. I'm just saying when I look at the map of the route, it lists your address.
Did you have a question?
Councilmember, could you turn on your microphone, please?
Yeah,
It's on,
it's on.
closer.
Like I said, it does raise a concern, seeing that the location of the bus drop-off and the bus stop there, to have the type 21 license there, it just raised a major concern of myself, because I really believe that the safety of the community and that would be too convenient for someone to purchase and while they're on the road. So I really feel like that would be something that is raised a concern for myself.
Okay, and if I were to talk to the bus company and deny them access to the building, all their passengers, I mean, it wouldn't be a problem for me to have the bus stop somewhere else, or if they wanted to stop at just the rest area north of or south of, close to the airport. I mean, I could just tell them that they just aren't welcome in that building. I just know that they don't stop there right now, and it's hard for me to be able to deny customer service. However, if they are on the bus, I would happily deny them service of any sorts at all. And I would happily ask I know the bus company, well, I could call them and directly ask them to not stop anywhere near that location if that was something that was concerning to anyone, and I could also just deny them access into the building as well. And I could ensure that the bus drivers also make sure that nobody comes onto the bus with any liquor, at least purchased from me. I know that they're able to purchase it from Valero freely and through any of the other gas stations. But for me specifically, I could make sure that they wouldn't be buying from me.
It's a tough one because that location has been a problem. And so,
I appreciate the offer by the business owner to essentially self-regulate, but my concern is that there is no enforcement mechanism once this is granted. And so I would make a motion to uphold the denial.
Could I also state that I personally know the bus owner, and it would be very easy for me to like ask him to not even stop in South Weed at all anymore. I don't know if that is something that would change your mind or if that is something that would be helpful.
So I have a question. I guess we'll go to staff first and then to Valerie Chang. There is the language on this says approve the transfer as public necessity and convenience. What do we have feedback for or against, if any, from the community that this is a necessity or convenience for the public for this service?
Sorry. Can you repeat that real quick? You were kind of low volume. I was trying to read along where.
The language on the resolution says approving a transfer as public necessity and convenience. And I'm just curious as to what feedback, if any, that we have had either for the city staff or for the proposed business owner that show this as a necessity or a business, a necessity or a convenience for the public of Weed.
I personally haven't had any feedback or negative talking to me about from the community. I know that in the past, the 175 Vista, when it was Greyhound, when it was, I think they switched to Flix now is what they call it, and Fronteras del Norte would stop there. The businesses in Southweed would get overran. Valero got to the point where they would lock the doors. Because too many customers were coming in at once. As far as the liquor store or a liquor expo being open there, I don't have any community feedback on that.
Well, I'm saying taking the bus completely out of this, what is the necessity and convenience to the public? Is, I guess, my question.
So I have not heard for or against either direction from the public. And I'm trying to remember, and city manager Stambaugh might recall as well, the email that Justin had sent, that the public convenience and necessity is something that the council needs to deem that this particular business, and that's an ABC, that's ABC terminology. They're saying that you guys need to deem that as public necessity and convenience for our community in order to have additional licenses over what were allotted from ABC.
Okay. I ask because I've had constituents that have approached me about having, a pharmacy. That's number one. I've had constituents that have approached me asking about, when is elementary school going to be completed? A lot of constituents asking about the potential transfer of the library to a new building. But I have not had a constituent come up and ask me about an additional liquor store, in the town. And I, being someone who doesn't shop at those kinds of stores, I don't have any personal firsthand experience. So I'm just trying to find out, what do the people of Weed need, irregardless of the bus stopping or not. So
I have not gotten, Mr. Mayor, I have not gotten any feedback for or against this particular issue.
Okay.
I think just as a, may I speak?
Of course, yeah. I
Okay.
wanted to get staff's take, if any, and it sounds like there have been no feedback from the public. But I'd like to hear from you as well.
What was that?
So it wasn't, there's no feedback that's good or bad.
Okay,
There's just no feedback.
yes. So I think probably something that the community does need is obviously more revenue to the city. It does bring in tax revenue. It does bring in more jobs. I know people have asked me for places of employment, and it's hard for me to direct them really anywhere. I also know that in regards to, again, grocery outlet, they're the only ones that sell wine in that general South Weed Business District area. And their options are limited, and sometimes they don't have certain brands, obviously, because they get what they can from grocery stores and different places that are sort of like offsetting their costs and selling over to grocery outlet. And then again, I have a lot of people who drive from Mount Shasta in order to cut the costs of going to Ray's or something. They will be driving to the Liquor Expo, or they will be driving to the Hilt location because it is cheaper, a lot cheaper than the Ray's locations, and they have more variety and different things like that. And I've had many people tell me that they would definitely be willing to shop at grocery outlet more often if there was liquor nearby or something like that, so they could just make it like a one-stop shop instead of having to go far and different places all at once. So if you wanted me to get a petition in regards to community members of drinking age who view it as something convenient for them, I would love to do that. Just wasn't sure how many signatures you would like from me, or if that was something that was of interest to you.
I'm just asking a question in general because I don't have any knowledge on that. Like I said, I've had a lot of feedback on other topics that the community is interested in, but this is not one of them. But I'm not surprised to hear that people drive all the way to, Grenada or Hilt for liquor, because I certainly see a lot of people that come into town for the dispensary, so. Do we have any other questions or comments from the council, staff, or our proponent? Do we have any public comment here in the chambers or on Zoom?
I did want to just make one more comment to you guys that I, as a young entrepreneur who's just trying to just make it here in the city of Weed, I really appreciate just like an open-mindedness to this. I promise that it will not become a problem, and if it was, I would be willing to do anything and everything it was in order to avoid any issues, avoid any problems, bar obviously certain individuals from coming in, and I could 100% ensure that the bus never stops there. I just would really appreciate the opportunity to be able to make some success in the community that I currently live in, and to bring some tax revenue in order to be able to donate to things that matter to me. And so that was just the last little bit that I wanted to speak out there for you guys.
So I guess that brings an additional question for staff is, if this location or any other location has a license to sell, liquor or any other, what we consider vice, liquor or marijuana or anything like that, if that business becomes an issue, does the council, the city have the purview to pull that license if there becomes a problem? Or is this something that once is approved is the gospel?
David?
I believe it's going to be ABC's jurisdiction if it's approved.
So we don't know.
So once we approve it, then we lose jurisdiction and ABC gets jurisdiction. Is that correct? Is that what you
With
said?
respect to the liquor license specifically, yes, but the city maintains its ability to enforce its nuisance laws and its misdemeanor provisions of the municipal code vis-a-vis conduct that occurs and activities that occur at the location.
But those conditions are very limited and very minor. So,
I just want to have an understanding for the council and for the public that may be
Yeah.
watching, that we understand, because we're going to be accountable to the constituents, whether this is good or bad, whether they're happy or upset. So,
That's what we signed up for.
yep.
And also there used to be a liquor license at Chevron and they used to sell the large style liquor bottles, and I pretty much spent my entire life in Southweed and I never experienced any issues with Chevron personally. I just want to throw that out there as well.
Well, I can share an anecdotal story. I worked there for a few months when I first moved to town decades ago. And I did witness employees assaulted by people after 3 a.m. that couldn't buy liquor, and interesting local people who bought liquor first thing in the morning at 6:15 before going to work. So again, that was decades ago. So I'm sure a lot of things have changed.
And I will not be open
30 years.
at 3 a.m. That is for sure.
So I know the Weed Police Department has historically been very busy in South Weed for various reasons. So.
Well,
Do you-
I'm probably not gonna be happy with it, but I'm for it on certain things if we can get some guarantees. But some of the things I don't think you can guarantee. I don't think you can tell a bus you cannot stop here, that you can't come into my store. I mean, and I wouldn't want you to do that.
Yeah.
I'm for capitalism and I'm for if everything's by the book. But again, that if it's going to your spot, then that's a problem. It is. But I'll be honest with you. I've seen them parked out there when it was Dos Amigos. And they parked on that side, but I've also seen them in Pilot in the parking lot when you first go in. I've watched them coming off of that bus. So I think it's on both spots.
Yes. So I feel like just from branch off from that, sorry if I'm taking up a lot of your guys' time. I would like to ask the police officer, like, do you think that the crime has been affected since the Greyhound has left? Because in my personal opinion, when I worked at that restaurant, I worked there for 6 years. The only problems I ever had with people in regards to they were obviously on something or they were just erratic and causing problems, it was only from the people from the Greyhound. And they have now.
Greyhound.
What was that?
I lived 3 houses south of the Greyhound.
Yes. So now they only stop in Mount
I know what
Shasta.
happened with the Greyhound.
Yeah.
So
They do stop in Mount Shasta now, and they don't stop in South Weed. However, the people that came off the other bus, they always were pretty quiet. They were very well behaved. They ordered their food. They created a lot of tax revenue for the city of Weed just from the traffic of them. And then I will also say that if you didn't want it in South Weed, where would be an ideal location? Because I know there's citizens in Weed who use that bus service, or there's, if I wanted to go somewhere, I would use it too, but it is convenient to be able to have something that will travel across state borders instead of just like the public bus. So I wasn't sure if that was something that also, if you wanted it specifically moved to somewhere that was, like absolutely no alcohol anywhere, maybe just food, or that was also something.
we need restaurants.
I have one last question before I can think about this. Several years ago, we had a lot of problems with Greyhound. We had a lot of problems with, I don't know if it was Frontier, but what I define them as some great big large white buses, and then we had Greyhound, and we had problems with Pilot complaining that they were overrun by the riders on the bus, and they were pilfering, stealing, and enough that the Valero actually closed its doors, as he defined. Has that abated since Greyhound has not shown up?
So since Greyhound has not shown up, our shoplifting crimes from in Pilot from Valero, that has gone down a little bit. As far as the loitering, I mean, the crime that Greyhound brought to us made Southweed pretty a high functioning crime area that has dissolved. it has gone down quite a bit, if that answers your question.
So we're not getting that same crime rate.
Since Greyhound has left, no, we're not on that level of calls for service.
So it seems to be one bad player, potentially. I'd also like to remind,
I live down the street from it.
I know,
At one particular point, someone got dropped off at Greyhound and that person was shot and killed by police officers. I was there. So I'm just saying that Greyhound was bad. It was a bad spot. I constantly was out there chasing people around in there.
and it seems like when it moved, it created a bad spot to
Yeah,
where it went as well.
It was run wrong. It wasn't open. People just stood around there. They wouldn't get tickets. It was a bad run.
But to bring us back into focus, Greyhound is gone, and this is a discussion over a business license transfer for a liquor store.
Right, but what I'm trying to
Right.
relay for me is the factors that, is this a good situation or is it a bad situation? I don't want to increase crime. I don't want to increase calls from our police department. We're already stressed enough with all of that. And so that's why I brought it up. But I also bring up one last thing is we also, as not this particular council, but a prior council approved a liquor warehouse there. I think it fell through for a lack of design on the building or something like that. Or something took place. Fell through the cracks. Well, holler at me sooner. I wasted all of the conversation on myself. I would say in that prior to this application, we had approved, the city can go back and look at the building documents. We had approved a building to go in that it kind of fell through the cracks or never took place. And I think the permit was abandoned, for lack of a better term. And it seems like the bad player Greyhound is no longer in our town.
Do we want to get even more information or?
I don't know if I want to get more information. I think we beat this up enough for me personally.
Take a vote on
I
it.
think it just is a it's a hard situation to approve or disapprove. And I think that's what's it's got me caught, I'll tell you that. I don't know about anybody else, but, there is a motion on the floor though, if I remember right. Didn't Melissa make a motion?
She did?
Yeah.
She did.
We need a second for that.
So that means it dies for a second? For lack of a second?
It hasn't received a second, but that's up to the mayor how long he wants to hold that open.
Okay. I have a hard time approving. I want to approve, but past history gives me the EBGBs.
I can guarantee that within a year, you will be very, very happy that you approved. I know that I have a really good heart. I do care for the community deeply. Even like on the last meeting when the guy had talked about the Meals on Wheels, like it affected me greatly to know that they were underfunded. It affects me to know that the students, obviously they're underfunded. I went through the same school system. I know how it is. There's no other way for me to show you besides than to prove it to you. And I know within 1 year, you all would be very, very happy with your decision if you did approve it.
Well, I'll take a shot here and I'll make a motion to approve, even though I denied the first time.
You're approving it?
I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, and we have no second for the previous motion? Okay, so that motion is dead, and we have a motion to approve in a second. Any public comments here or abroad on Zoom? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini,
Yes.
Councilmember Virasan,
It's your heart. Vote your heart.
Right.
Or whatever you think.
It's okay, however, which way you move.
We win and we lose. It's fine.
well, I didn't hear that, was. Councilmember Whitstein,
Huh?
No, she's there, I think.
I think she's frozen.
Can you repeat Councilmember Virasan's response? I didn't hear that.
she said yes.
And Councilmember Whitstein's turn?
No.
And Mayor Parham.
I will abstain. All right, so it sounds like we have 3 approving votes.
And that
Motion carries.
passes.
All right. Congratulations on your,
Thank you so much. You guys don't
Business
understand
license
how much this
transfer.
means to me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Make it positive.
Make
I
us
will.
proud.
I will make you proud. Don't worry. I already have big plans for this place. Thank you.
Check it in on you.
Okay.
all right, now we're on to item B. By motion, council will consider an introductions and first reading by title only of ordinance number 488, 2025, amending section 1.05.010 of chapter 1.04 of title 1.
Mr. Mayor, permission to speak?
Of course.
Thank you. This is just me, reading through the code and starting to clean stuff up on that end. I asked for David's help. This is just, making sure that, all the city, because when I read the code, I was really confused because some parts said city, a lot of it said city administrator, and then there's a city manager ordinance that I guess supersedes all the rest of it. So, David and I've asked David to help. I'm looking to clean up the code as part of my mission while I'm here, as part of our process improvement, yada, yada. So it's just an administrative update to reflect what this council has already approved.
Well, I can say, having read through
Cleanups.
your ordinance proposal, I appreciate your definitions. I'm sure that had a lot to do with the city attorney's support there, but
Oh, yeah, I had a lot of support.
I appreciate things being clearly defined. So, well done. All right, any discussion amongst council? I'm assuming everybody read their packets in full?
I did not read this item.
Okay,
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, and just if I may, Mr. Mayor.
certainly.
I think part of the plan with Mr. Stambaugh was when we do make amendments to our municipal code going forward, and there are still those legacy references to the city administrator, we will clean those up as they come before the council. But to go in one pass and try to change every reference would be quite an undertaking. And so simply a definitional change will at least make it crystal clear going forward what we're talking about when we say city administrator at this point.
All right.
Okay, I read it.
Any public comments? Here virtually? No? I'm very thankful that at least one member of our public has stayed. Usually what happens in these meetings is we get a lot of people, and then when their hot button issue's over, they leave. So appreciate you being here for the long haul.
She was the first to show.
Thank you, Sharon.
All right, well, there's no public comment, so now it's time for somebody to make a motion if they're so inclined.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 488-2025, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Weed, amending section 1.05.010 of chapter 1.04 of title 1 of the Weed Municipal Code, defining city administrator as city manager.
I'll second that. And we'll now move to a roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yep.
Councilmember Palfini,
Yes.
Councilmember Virasan, yes, Councilmember Whitstein,
Yes.
Mayor Parham.
Aye. Motion carries by unanimous consent. We have omitted item C. We will now move on to item D, Building Department, discussion item with direction to staff. Council will review Resolution 02-2023 regarding the mill fire setbacks and give direction to staff. So,
Mr. Mayor, and I'll give it to the experts after this. Just a quick introduction. I was approached by Mike Britton a while back, just questioning the precedent of prior approvals. And as per our discussion, I wanted to make sure that I didn't feel it was fair for him to continue issuing building permits if he doesn't agree with the prior precedent set. So I just wanted to represent it to city council to make sure that city staff is still carrying, I want to make sure that they are heard and that you support the direction that he would like to go, him and fire chief as they would like to go. So Mike, if you want to weigh in and explain a little more.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Stelma. Mr. Mayor, council members, when I took this position and we were dealing with the mill fire replacement homes, I was informed that the city had approved a variance allowing homes to, instead of have a 10-foot setback from the side property lines, to a 5-foot, to allow for larger homes, those types of things. So it went before the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission did approve a variance of 5 feet, but however, it was for the front property line and the back property line, which is not the way that I was informed. So starting with the very first mill fire house that was built, they were under the assumption that they could build a house 5 feet off the two side property lines. So what this does is instead of houses being 10 foot and 10 foot for a total of 20 foot, we're back to the 10 feet apart. In some instances, there were less than 10 feet when you take into account the eaves. You're down around 7 feet apart. So from a fire standpoint, as a safety and health part is part of my job, my concern is we're putting ourselves back in the same position we were before the fire started. So what we have before us, we currently have 24 homes that have been built. That includes manufactured homes along with stick-built homes. We currently have 5 foundations that were built with those standards, with the 5-foot setback on the side yards. What I would like to see is the city allow me to go back to doing the 10-foot setbacks on the side yards. This means that the previous 24 homes kind of set a precedence. So unfortunately, I'm asking you to go away from the precedents and let us go back to the code. That's the first question. The second concern I have, of course, is we have 6 homes right now where they have paid for engineered plans based on the 5-foot setback that was part of the original agreement with the city. So those 6 homes would have to have their houses redesigned to fit with a 10-foot setback, so quite a bit smaller. Their only option then is to go increase the length of the property, so narrow and long, similar to a single-story townhouse. And if that's the case, the actual variance that we have in place does list 5 foot from the front, 5 foot from the back. And I would ask that you would allow that to stay in place so those homeowners can still build a larger house. The one concern that the fire chief and I have with that variance currently is from a front of the house, there's plenty of room for fire trucks. The adjoining house across the street is 20, 30 feet away. It's not an issue. However, in some sections of Lincoln Heights, there are alleys which will then separate and give us back our 20, 25 feet. But there are other areas that do not have alleys. So in those areas, we would like to see the 10-foot setback maintained. That way we still have that 20 feet. So it's a little confusing. All I can say is it's something that happened, and I'd like to correct it and get it back to where with the remaining houses so we can get back to a safer community.
So for my understanding, to clarify, resolution of 02-2023 ends in January, is that correct? of 2026 is when it runs out. Is it sunset date?
Yes, I believe it's January 12th of 2026.
Okay. And do we have any additional houses that are anticipated between now and January to come through and apply to build?
We have 6.
But those are already in process.
The plans have been submitted, but the permits have not been approved.
Okay.
They're in various stages of plan check.
And of those 6 houses, are those the county provided plans or are those plans that they paid for?
One of them is a county provided plan. I haven't seen the plan yet. That they're in the process of that right now. And part of that issue, of course, is what you determine, because that house will fit pretty much kind of in between the 5-foot variance and 10-foot variance. She has a little more property available to her. So I think we might be able with slight adjustments, make that county plan fit on that property. The fact that it's an almost free plan from the county, it's okay, she's okay with having to hire an engineer or architect to do a slight redesign on that one.
So if I could, with that, the other 5, under what you're proposing, we would require all new engineering?
Yes.
And what kind of financial burden do we kind of know?
You know, I couldn't answer that question. The house I built in 2016, obviously the price is quite a bit different than it is now. But for me, it was about $6,000 back then.
So double that.
Probably double that. But again, I haven't inquired. There's 2 engineers that most of the locals have been using. We could find out if you'd like to answer that.
Are most of these houses of similar design, or are they
Yes.
the same design, like a reverse floor plan?
There's quite a few homes now. There's 3 that have been built. They're almost identical. They just switched the garage locations. And there's 2 more that fell into those that design. And so they didn't have to go to plan check. So they saved a little bit there. The one thing I will also just point out is all these homes so far is part of that waiver where the city is not charging them a building permit fee. And up until July 1st of this year, our plan checker also refused to accept payment. Let's put it that way. And now he's having to charge again. So they have saved a tremendous amount of money due to the city's waiver, but they still will incur some costs to redesign those.
Okay.
If I may interject for a moment, it's going back to do we want to pay now or later? When I'm not an expert, but I share the concern with both our fire chief and fire chief. If I'm misrepresenting, please interject. But I'm concerned that if we continue the trend that we're just going to pay later when the next fire happens. So it's better to hit it now on these 6 homes while we can. Thank you.
I would probably concur with that, being in the business I'm in. That 10 feet is a bare minimum as well. Some of the insurance requirements are, like for small outbuildings, are getting to be more than 30 feet if you want to buy a policy. So besides us, there are others screaming the same tune. And 10 feet is just, I think part of, I wouldn't want to blame the total thing about having close proximity, but it did have a bearing factor onto the spread and quickness of the fire. And I think that's kind of one of those things that went with it. I just don't want to see a horrible financial burden to those that we kind of misinformed. So we do have a lady out there, but I don't know what her issue is in particular, but.
So we have 25 completed homes. from the mill fire recovery?
24 completed.
24 completed, one in process.
And five, yes, one in process and 5 foundations.
And these are this one in process and the 5 foundations are the 6 that we're talking about here, or?
Only one of them is.
Okay. Of those 25 homes, and I'm gonna also lean on the fire chief here, because I haven't driven through and looked at every single lot, in the area there. How many do we have an approximation of how many of those are a fire concern because of the 5-foot setback issue?
I drove the neighborhood this afternoon in anticipation, and there are 2 existing houses that I believe are really close to meeting our actual code, that have some separation. And there is one of the new ones being built on Alameda, on the backside. It's exceeded our code. So that one will be in really good condition. We'll be in good shape on that one.
Okay, but the other 23 to 24 are all
They're,
at
they're,
risk.
yeah, some of them were done 10 foot from the foundation instead of 10 foot from the eaves. And, the current one that's almost being finished, we actually have 10 foot between the eaves. Which,
Okay, that's,
And what is, just for my own edification, is it 10 foot from the eaves in the code, or does it state?
it doesn't state, it just says the setback from the side yard's 10 feet.
Okay. Reason I ask is my home up in subdivision 2 was built in '07. It was previously a mill house that burned down where it was built, and we have less than 5 feet on our edges to our fence line, because I had to rebuild the fence after the Bulls fire. And
Yep.
so that whole neighborhood up by the high school is same way. We're all within 7-8 feet of each other from window to window.
Yeah, all through Shasta Avenue, all those, they don't meet current code,
Yeah,
but they were built years ago, those ones, so.
yeah.
those that don't meet some of the setbacks, is it more influenced on the eastern side or on the west side?
Both sides.
Both sides?
Yeah, both sides were treated equally.
So it'd be safe to assume that everybody was trying to get more house on their lot, basically.
Absolutely. It was,
Which you can't fault them for that.
this, someone within the city, we're not sure who, because it's been changed over quite a few. We have new department heads. So we don't know who exactly said you could do this. But it's just happened. Let's just put it that way.
So
And
the
now-
council-
Now we have the consequences, and I'm asking for a decision from city council is how you want me to proceed.
So the council, just to make it clear for everybody, including our 7 YouTube followers, so the council in 2023 approved 5 foot from the front and back.
Front and back.
And somehow amongst the revolving door of staff in that last 2 years' time, we approved people to be less than 10 foot, 5 foot on the sides, which was
It got
never part of
switched
that
to the
original
sides.
approval.
That's correct.
Okay, so this is a city issue, not a
Yes.
builder issue.
Correct.
So we're basically looking for clarification for the staff to follow our original rules that were set in 2023. This is not changing anything.
That's one of the things we're asking you to accept. The other thing, of course, is, Mr. Stambaugh mentioned this, is the extra workload it puts on me, because every contractor, we're supposed to go before planning commission and get an approval, which is the way the ordinance, the resolution is written. And of course, according to the way it's written, Mr. Stambaugh actually can approve those. But that means that all the additional homes on the empty lots will be coming to him, myself, and then to him for approval. So we're requesting either it be made on a permanent basis for a period of time or something to reduce our workload.
Yes. I think the biggest thing that will reduce our workload is clarity. Do we want to continue the precedent that was set, or are you willing to help us because I don't, right now, Mike feels like he's going against his professional recommendations for these. I would rather support him.
I'm chuckling on my side because if you come up to my neighborhood, you gotta love how we've done things over the years. But there's 10 feet on one side between 10 and 10. And on the other side of the neighboring house, it's 5 and 5, and then it's 10 and 10 again. So we've gone through quite the gamut of setbacks. Yeah.
Yes, there is one of the newer homes off Railroad. It's approximately 11 feet on one side and 5 on the other. And that could have easily been at least put in the middle and, you know,
Somewhere, yeah.
yeah.
Do we have any?
Have the people that are gonna do this, sorry, gonna have their plans adjusted if we go this direction? How loud is everybody gonna scream at us?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I
I
don't know
thought you would
if
help on that one.
Mrs. Smith is still here, but she would be one of the individuals. She
Okay.
spoke earlier.
Okay,
She would be one of the individuals. She has the county plan, but she would have to have it redesigned slightly to fit. She has a little more property, which benefits her. She has not as much depth, but she has length the opposite direction. And if we maintain the 5 foot as is, which is front and rear, she would only have to make minor modifications to her length to fit in there with the 10-foot setback on the sides. As far as the others, they aren't aware of this at this point, so depending on what your decision is, then I can let you know by next meeting, because I'll have to let them all know, all the contractors know.
My big concern here is due to our mistake as a city, are we imposing undue hardship on citizens trying to rebuild because we made a mistake? And by we, I don't mean you, because this was before your time, and I want to clarify that for our 7 YouTube viewers. Mr. Britton's doing the right thing to the law here. But I guess I was going to ask our fire chief what his opinions are and risk factors, if any, if you've reviewed the current 6 applications, if they move forward as engineered.
I have not had a chance to review the 6, but as Mike stated, we both talked about this, and the setback is there for fire safety, and it essentially hopefully keeps, if one house catches on fire, we're able to have a better chance of keeping it from the next house next to it. With the 5 foot in the front and rear, like he said, there's a street on the front side, so you automatically have 5 feet plus the street, and then 5 feet on the other side. So the front is not a concern if that's a variance that is in place. And 5 feet on the back with an alleyway is essentially the same as having 5 feet on the front, because you have 5 feet an alleyway and then 5 feet on the other side. So that gets you closer to 20 to 25 feet there. The sides being 5 feet, that's only 10 feet. And here, the main factor that we have working against us on most fires is wind. And when we have wind, that essentially takes a fire that's on flat ground and acts like a fire that's on steep terrain. So it pushes the fire horizontally more than vertically. And that would potentially push fire horizontally onto a structure that's nearby. I feel the hesitation working, with these families that have already submitted these plans based off of previous knowledge and expectations from before. I don't see it, it can't be easy to consider additional costs, especially after already going through what they went through, so if it's continue with what's there, and this is now, the plan for moving forward, I don't know if that's an option you guys are looking at or what, but from my point of view, we need to withhold what the variance said initially, and then maybe consider even the variance on the back to have some options there. 5 feet if an alleyway is present, 10 feet if not, something like that, just to be able to keep that distance away from structures there. But yeah, on the side of things where there's an additional cost, there's a hesitation there on, enforcing that on people that are just trying to rebuild their house.
Well, and that's why I have so many questions is I don't want to overburden the survivors of the Mill Fire, but I also don't want to create Mill Fire 2.0. And having people, if God forbid someone's house catches fire, that we lose 2 or 3 others because we as a city didn't follow the code, previously. So I'd like to hear from Mrs. Smith and since I'm thankful that someone from the public came that's actually part of this situation.
Thank you. So, my siblings and I own the land at 1165 Grant Avenue here in Weed, California. We are favorably requesting the approval of the council members for a 10 feet variance there, as you've heard from Mike, and it will allow that. And most importantly, it would prevent if a fire would potentially occur in the future, not escalating to the next house. And what you guys have done in the past, the only thing that you can critically think about is you learn from that. And what you learn from that is what you do for the future to prevent any further matters like this happening. So what I have is 3 questions. Can you approve the variance at 1165 Grant Avenue?
We can't approve them one by one, but is that what I'm getting?
The variance, currently, the way the resolution is written, that the variance goes before the planning director, and the planning director takes it under consideration and either can approve the variance or deny.
Okay.
But no, you can't, you're not approving it
We're not
tonight.
approving
No.
one by one, yeah, okay.
Okay. So it's not council's responsibility to approve that?
Not
Right.
individually, we're here to set the whole plate,
Whole thing.
not just part of it.
So Mike, it is your decision to approve this 10 feet variance?
No, it actually does go to planning commission and I can
The
go,
planning director.
planning director, excuse me.
Which would be me.
Yeah, which is,
Which is,
Steve,
And I won't
Damn, Bob.
approve it, I won't
Yeah.
approve it without all those other approvals.
okay, so what I specifically need to know is when will it go to you, the city manager, please? Could you specify exactly when this would go to you?
Planning commission, it goes to the planning commission first.
And that would be
And then
November.
yes, and then it'll go to me after, if they approve.
When? Do you have an anticipated time frame of this? And the reason why I'm asking these specific questions, ladies and gentlemen, my sister, Lovey Smith, is part of she's a landowner. She does not live here. She lives in Los Angeles and or Beverly Hills, California. She wants to pay for this immediately to get the foundation and the home rebuilt as quickly as possible and accurately and righteously as possible. So I need to give her some specific timeframes to do this. And that's what I'm looking for. I thought council, and I apologize, I thought council had to approve the 10 feet variance this evening. And I apologize, and maybe I misunderstood it the last time I had the preliminary meeting with you. So it goes to the planning commission, and then it goes to you, Mike. Is that correct? I mean, I'm sorry, whatever the last name is, the city manager. And
Yeah.
when will
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
so, in our course of our meeting, we were talking about these issues that I brought before you. So if you were to approve, the existing variance with the alley options that Chief Carter and I have discussed, and go back to, give me permission to go back to the 10-foot setbacks, which is what Sherry's saying. That answers my questions, her questions. And then if those variances are approved with that setback, she won't be anywhere near, she'll be about 5 foot on her backyard, but behind her is 97. So there's no structure there. She'll be around 13 feet on the garage and maybe 17 feet on the house off the front. So she's
okay.
She's
So
okay there.
You're asking to go back to code.
Go back to code, and then that
10 foot.
solves her issue. She still has to apply for that variance because she's gonna be less than 20 feet unless you approve the existing resolution of 5 foot and 5 foot. If you,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I mean, obviously, Chief Carter, you have a specialty to look at these, together with the building inspector and say, this is gonna be a fire hazard and this isn't, right? I mean, for the 6 that are remaining, is the recommendation that the 6 remaining that are pending pose fire issues?
Yes, I mean, that was our original request, but I also want to be sensitive to I'm in agreement with a lot of the council members that we should be considering the financial burden because they're already approved. But like I said, it's a tough decision because if you approve them and we continue the trend, then that, and when we know the risk now, you're taking that risk as a council you're taking that risk of continuing what we know we should be stopping.
But it sounds like Ms. Smith's property is not the fire hazard that we're considering as to why there should be these 10-foot setbacks. It sounds like it's set in a way that it wouldn't create an issue.
Yeah, with hers, it's not the biggest challenge, but we're here to establish this evening as precedent to hit the reset button.
And is it possible that the precedent be that we're going back to the old way, but there has to be careful consideration by you as in your position with planning and with Chief Carter, that we are not going to make these people change their plans unless we see a significant fire hazard?
I would be okay with that personally.
I mean, I'd like to give them an opportunity if they have a similar situation to Ms. Smith where, it's not exactly right, but, they feel that they can get fire trucks in and it's not going to roll over, then I wouldn't want to put people through the finance of that. But I 100% agree. We have to be cognizant that this isn't just the one person who has the right to their plot of land, but it's everyone else who's affected by us allowing them to build the larger house and then their property is affected. And I do think it's important. I think we're getting more and more regulation from the state. We had something on today about, being able to say that there's a defensible space. So I think we're just walking our citizens into a problem with insurance, with, the requirements of the state if we continue down this path. But with utmost concern to the 6, I do think there should be an individual evaluation since they already are in the stage that they are, by you and your planning position and with Chief Carter and his team taking a look at it and seeing how they can make it work.
So, Ms. Smith, you said you had 3 questions, and I think you only asked 1.
I did. You
And
are
I'd like to get your other 2 questions
All
before
right,
we
so I didn't get an
continue.
answer to the first one,
We'll work on that.
and I guess
one.
I'm just a bit confused.
Can I address that just real
Yeah.
quick?
Absolutely.
So first of all, I need application, and then I need a set of plans that we talked about, and then the plans go before our plan checker. And once those are approved, then it goes to a variance. So the question that came in, depending on what the council decides on all the setbacks, is if you can use those county plans as is, or if they have to be modified to fit your property. So that's why we're going before city council to try to get some clarification so that you know that, hey, all you have to do is bring me everything on Monday, or you have to get your plans re-engineered to fit your property.
Okay, where do I get the application?
It's online. I can give you one tonight before we go
email
home. And
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
So he has now addressed and answered my first question. Thank you.
It takes a while to draw it out of us, son.
And I haven't had dinner.
Neither have I.
After all of this is completed, the application, the set of plans, and it goes through the next level and everything. Correct me if I'm wrong, then if it's approved, then I will get a building permit.
Yeah, once everything's approved and as long as Depending on how the outcome with the variances goes, that should.
So I'll get a building permit once it's approved, and I submit the documentation to me. That's a yes or no?
Yes, you also have to pay school fees and some other things involved, but yes.
Right, right. And, great, yeah, we talked about the Siskiyou Union High School District, school fees, which I'll get waived. And, this building permit, God bless, if it's issued by City Hall, which I hope that it will be. I'd like to, go on record to ask, if the fees can be waived. I remember hearing you guys said that a lot of the building permit fees were waived at a certain point. I don't know if that time frame has elapsed or expired.
The time frame goes in, correct me if I'm wrong, is it January?
January
12th. January 12th, 2026.
Okay, so it's still in effect?
Yes,
Okay,
it's still in
perfect.
effect. The plan checker fees started again July 1st. They've been very minimal. He's been very gracious to help the victims. And then, of course, you do have to pay school fees
Right,
that
which
we
we talked
talked about.
about.
Yes.
Okay, great. And that concludes my questions, and you'll be hearing from me, Mike. Did you, council, have any further questions for me before I step back?
Thank you. Is what I thought,
No.
just to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming and because we don't have anybody else from that neighborhood, that was affected to speak tonight. And thank you for your patience in getting those questions resolved.
Absolutely. And on behalf of that neighborhood, I mean, it's just not a neighborhood. It was people. It was human beings. It's not just a neighborhood, and the livelihood to maintain that and to keep that existence. We need city council and we need the members here, every single member, to help. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So with that said, I would like to remind everybody of this last fire we had and the importance of setbacks. If it wasn't for that main street, those buildings would have disappeared across the street. Is that correct? So that's officially a setback. Even though it's Main Street, it's a setback that allows emergency personnel. So from my standpoint, I would like to go with your setbacks of 10 feet on the front street, 5 feet, and the street. That's what you said was okay, right? Or is it 10 feet?
It's 5 feet on the front, and that's how it's already set up in the variance is
And
5
that one
front,
you
5
feel
back.
is okay, that's sufficient. So, and on the back of the homes, we want to do 10 feet?
We would recommend 10 if it's directly against another property.
Okay,
And then for instances where there's a street or an alleyway, it would make more sense to do, or it could make sense to do 5 because you're still getting that setback.
okay. So, and that could be determined by who? By,
All of us.
That would be
Yeah.
between Chief Carter and myself, yes.
okay.
So
That's kind of what and I want to go with safety. I want to make sure that we're not creating, as you said, Mill Fire 2.0 or whatever fire we want to call it. We've had a number, but so that is my main point. I mean, the fact that we waived on the first set up by your home, we probably did ourselves a little bit of injustice. And we need to learn from that. We need to learn from this. And so going forward, for me, I want to go with what the fire department recommends because as Melissa pointed out, things aren't getting easier out there. Insurance companies want to step back in, but they want to step back in on their terms, not our terms. So whatever we can do to help people in all aspects, from safety to economy to however we get that done, that's kind of where I want to go.
Well, and ideally, what staff is asking us tonight is not to make a change, is to enforce what was already done. Because
Yeah,
a previous
already on
staff
the
member
books.
who's no longer with us was approving things that went against our resolution.
Okay.
So in my mind, it's makes absolute sense that we're gonna uphold our existing law that also follows the code and is safe. The only change that I'm hearing tonight is that we have consideration with the planning director and the fire chief and the building inspector on the 5-foot variance on the rear of the property to take into consideration if there's an alleyway, a highway, or any other defensible space line, which is within code, again, within law, and reason. I mean, those codes exist for a
Mr.
reason.
Mayor, may I
Yes.
interject?
You're ready.
So, thank you. So just to clarify my marching orders with the staff. So, for the 6 remaining, for the 6 in limbo, building requests or building permit requests, do you want us to follow what Melissa was suggesting, Councilmember Melissa was suggesting, to have each one of them reevaluated by the building inspector and the police and the fire chief?
I think so, because first and foremost, we need to explain to those people if there is an issue there, mea culpa, because we had a previous staff member that approved something that they weren't legally allowed to. But yes, because we may potentially be giving them financial hardship, I would like to review those properties individually to see what we can work with them on to achieve the goals that meet safety in the legal requirement, as well as to help them achieve their rebuilding goals. I understand that that's going to put undue hardship on staff, and I apologize that, a previous employee put us there, but I feel that's the right and ethical thing to do than just rubber stamping and saying yes or no based on their setbacks, because they may have individual, circumstances that can be worked through to achieve both ends. And so I think that's a fair way to fix our mistake as a city, is to work with those 5 individuals, or 6 individuals if necessary. But at the same time, giving staff clarification that, going forward, we are going to follow the resolution on all new applications so that this doesn't occur again.
And
I want to just openly thank council for helping us get a resolution on this.
And now that is my opinion. I want the rest of the council here to weigh in on that.
I'm with what you're saying, Mayor.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think if the city was wrong, that we should make it right, because, the community there, they need our support. I mean, definitely if we are at fault that staff had approved things that they shouldn't approve, then it's only right that we mend the issue. So
The
I agree
citizens
with
are
that.
trying to rebuild a home and get their things started again, and, we have to make it right with them, so it's a positive.
It's
movement.
enough hoops in the state to jump through to build a house. We don't need to make it onerous.
I agree, 100%.
Councilmember
Thank you.
Wetstein, do you have an opinion to share with us?
I would like the fire chief, with Dustin to work on these last 5, 6 properties. And I think we need to hold tight to the setbacks that are required so that we are not devastated by another fire.
All right. Is there any further questions or clarification from staff? Or I know sometimes we can be clear as mud up here, so well, making sure we're all on the same page. So
I do have some clarification. So I just want to confirm the 5 or 6 that are already put in place. The request is that we look at those individually to make sure that the setbacks are within this variance, or at least within a safe part of the code, or however their property is set up and adjacent to streets, or however that is. And then after these 5 or 6, after we've gone through these 5 or 6, from the next one forward,
all shall meet.
they will meet
existing
the
code.
actual code that
Yeah.
you get, that you approved for the 5 in the front, 5
Yes.
in the back. Okay.
Because that was the intent since it was
Yep.
done in 2023.
Okay.
So, and I would like to thank the staff in advance for the extra work that you're doing to clean up the previous errors, as well as acknowledging to our 7 viewers that our current staff here that's fixing the problem was not the cause of it.
And Mr. Mayor, I just want to make, if it's clear, that if there is a fire hazard that's identified by the chief and the city manager, then we are going to have these people redo these plans, right?
Yes, but we need to work with them to see what we can do to mitigate. You know, we need to find a middle ground there. But if their existing plans are putting them 5 feet on the property line to an existing house, that's something that we won't be able to allow just because of the fire danger. It's not fair to the other property owners to put their homes at risk.
Appreciate that clarity. Thanks.
All right.
So this is a complicated one. Try this on per se and you can do some friendly amendments.
Well, this is just giving clarification to staff. This is a discussion item. There's no vote required.
Is there?
No, this is just because we already have an existing resolution that's 2.5 years old at this point. This was just clarification and discussion. And I'm thankful to staff that this was put on the agenda for discussion because we got public input from someone who's experiencing this that had questions. We were able to have this discussion as lengthy as it was, but now we're all on the same page.
Do we have that all down, Sandy, as far as what we, okay. I mean, we went through a lot of different things, so.
All right, our last agenda item, item E, Public Works by motion. Council will consider change order for City Hall roof asbestos removal.
Yes, thank you, council. Before I get to the change order, I'd like to let you guys know what has led up to these events. So on July 17th, we went ahead and brought in a professional company to test the roof for asbestos. They came back saying that was only 900 square feet. The reason why we did this was so that way we could go and get more accurate bids when we went out to bid for this roof replacement. On Monday, the contractors, United Builders, building contractors started tearing off the roof. When this abatement company came to remove the 900 square feet of asbestos, that's when it was determined that the whole entire roof is filled with asbestos. So in front of you tonight is a change order to have the abatement company to remove the asbestos. It is $96,042.38.
Well, we had anticipated this previously, that may be the case. While we certainly aren't excited about an additional $100,000, this is something that staff and council had anticipated and needs to happen for the safety of our staff and our community, as well as replacing the roof. So, do we have any public comment? I see that our existing public has left the building. Do we have any public on Zoom that has arrived at any of your locations? No? Any questions from council members on this?
I would make a question for Chris and maybe Mr. Stambach. Is that qualified for any brownfield grants? Asbestos
Is it-
removal? I don't know if it.
I would have to get a check. It possibly could be.
Well, I mean, I'm just always search for a buck somewhere if I can. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's not doable, that's fine. It is what it is. But
It'd be worth looking at to see if we can get something retroactively.
I mean, I'm working with Siskiyou County Economic Development on a number of projects, including strategic planning. But they did have their brownfield group walking around downtown on Monday, so I can always ask them.
okay, sounds good.
I know that we all anticipated that there might be asbestos throughout the roof, but when we did the original testing, did we ask only for spot testing? And how is it that it came to that 900 square feet or whatever it was? Was that because we failed to ask for the full testing, or do we think that whoever we contracted didn't do it correctly?
So what ended up taking place is that when I contacted this company, I let them know exactly what, the project that was taking place. I left it to their expertise on what to test. Unfortunately, they only tested about one section of the roof. They did take core samples. They took about 9 samples altogether. Majority of it was around the outer edge. There was one that actually had to pertain to the roof, and that was only on one side of the roof. Unfortunately, yeah, the abatement company did state that they did not do a very thorough job on testing.
And how much do we pay them to do that?
I do not have those numbers right with me tonight, but I can get you those numbers.
I see Jill moving quickly.
Yes.
So they missed it?
It's going to take me a minute because I got to get logged into our accounting, but I'll look that up.
They missed it.
Right, I think it probably needs to be reviewed and determine whether or not we need to kindly ask for a refund from their failure.
I already had, as you know, I already asked for, Chris has already sent me the contract. I just have not reviewed it yet. So I will be reviewing it and talking to them when I get back on Monday.
I just wanted to also point out, in reviewing the change order, that a portion of that change order is for a follow-up with health consultants for the roofers that were removing the asbestos to determine if they suffered any harm from not being professionally prepared to remove asbestos and not realizing what they were removing. The additional concern is City Hall was also not prepared did not realize and was not prepared, as in we had windows open, heating and ventilation, air conditioning running throughout the building. So there could be some additional maybe health follow-up costs with that.
We need to make sure that, and I talked to Chris about it, we need to make sure that the staff is safe. This is safe, and if we have to move them out of the building for whatever length of time or something we should look into. But if it's going to be safely done, then I'm good with that, but it's important for me for them we've already went through all the mold for years. So that's all I'm saying, is to make sure that the staff and the people coming in and out of this building are safe while this is being.
We had those conversations, Mark,
I know we
with the contractor that's there, and they assured us that they would, even though it was a snag in the plan, they did assure us that they could do it without.
Okay. I'm counting on it.
All right, so staff has clear direction and action follow-up on the previous inspection. Do we have any other discussion or questions on the motion, the change order?
No.
No, I make a motion to approve Resolution 37, 2025, the task order.
I'll second.
Oh, hold on, that's the wrong one.
Well, second.
Yeah, this is just the motion for the change order for the asbestos remediation.
I adopt that language and I move to adopt it.
I will second. All right, we'll vote via roll call.
Councilmember Mazzoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini?
Yes.
Councilmember Virasan? Yes. Councilmember Whitstein?
She said yes. I saw her lips move. She said yes.
Mayor Parham?
Aye. All right, motion carries by unanimous consent. We'll now move on to staff reports. We'll start with Chief Carter.
All right. Over the last month, we had 78 calls. They're covered by 2 full-time personnel, 7 resident firefighters, and 1 volunteer. This last Sunday, we had 1 new resident firefighter move in. On Monday, 5 of our resident firefighters and 1 volunteer started the COS Fire Academy. That's exciting. The firefighters that were assigned to the Garnett Fire as part of a rapid extrication module returned on September 25th after a successful assignment. And then, as you guys are already aware, September 28th around 10:20, our department, along with many others, responded to the main fire. Firefighters took immediate action to suppress the fire and were up against heavy fire upon arrival. These firefighters pushed themselves to the limits to save and protect life and property. By the end of the incident, we had 14 different fire departments and 4 different law enforcement agencies respond, including CHP, Lake Shastina PD, Sheriff's Department, and Weed PD. With the equipment from CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit, including 1 division chief, 3 battalion chiefs, 1 prevention, 7 fire engines, 2 helicopters, 1 air attack plane, and 2 air trailers. The Klamath National Forest provided 1 battalion chief and 1 water tender. Lake Shastina Fire Department, 1 chief and 2 fire engines. Mount Shasta Fire Department, 1 chief, 1 engine, and 2 water tenders. Mayton Fire Department, 1 engine and 1 water tender. South Waurika Fire Department, 1 engine and 1 water tender. Gazelle Fire Department, 1 engine. Mount Shasta Ambulance, 1 ambulance. Dunsmuir Fire Department, 1 truck and 1 water tender. Waurika City, 1 truck. We provided 3 fire engines, 8 firefighters, and 1 chief. And if I didn't mention, I don't think I did, but Fort Jones Fire Department sent 1 engine, and McLeod Fire Department sent 1 engine. As you can tell, this fire was a collaboration between many different agencies, and it's through this collaboration that the damage was limited to the 5 buildings on Main Street. I just wanted to say thank you to all the departments I mentioned before, and to the city staff and Public Works for working together and sending their equipment and personnel. Their work is more than appreciated, and I'm honored to see such selfless work done to protect our community. And that is all I have to report. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Porterfield.
Nothing else for me this evening, thanks.
Thank you. Director Davis.
Only thing I got is I'd like to thank Timberworks for coming in the following day with their excavator to help go through the rubble to make sure that the fire was completely out. They did put off a project that they were supposed to work on that day to come and give us a hand.
All right. Sergeant Compliance.
Nothing to report from me.
All right. City Clerk.
No report this time, thank you.
All right. We'll go to our city attorney and save our city manager for last.
I have no report this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. And city manager Stambaugh.
I just wanted to say once again how thankful I am to be a part of the team. I'm the newcomer, and the staff and council, y'all are wonderful, so thank you. It's an honor to watch them work during the fire. It just shows how dedicated they are. I was very impressed. I've got a good crew, and I just am thankful to be here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate your
We
leadership
appreciate
and
you being here, yeah.
joining our team. So,
Good job. Good job, Justin.
Thank you.
all right. At this point, I will accept a motion to adjourn to closed session.
I so move.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a motion? We have a second?
A second.
All right. And we'll
There's no
take a,
comment on that motion?
do we have any public comment? We don't have any public here. How about
No
Zoom?
public?
Nope.
All right.
Roll call.
We'll roll call vote.
Councilmember Mazzoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Palfini? Councilmember Virasan? Councilmember Whitstein?
Yes.
Mayor Perham?
Aye. All right. Motion carries. We will now move to closed session.